Welcome to Money Mindset interview series. This week we have Chun Hoe with us. Chun Hoe, would you like to give us a bit of introduction about yourself?
Okay, hi to all the listeners. I am Chun Hoe. I am kind of retired. I do have an office. I run a business as well. But mostly I kind of feel like I'm semi-retired. But I am mostly an investor. So I will look at opportunities and see where I can put my money, where I feel that there is the best return for my money. So I call myself an investor from that point of view. But I, like everybody else, or like most people, or like most of my peers, I didn't start off as just come out and then decided to be an investor. I started off as an employee like most people. And then halfway, or not half a year into employment, I figured out that an employment income is not really sufficient to get me to early retirement. And I wanted to have early retirement because I want to have enough time before I die, when I'm still active and healthy, to see the world and experience the world. And my target at the time was to retire by the age of 40. So I knew I needed to have another source of income. And from then, I went into an entrepreneurial trip for a while, selling stuff at the Clarke Quay flea market. And then when that business was killed by eBay, I went on to investing, started doing stock investments, investing in the stock market. And then subsequently, when the property market was ripe for investment, I went into the property market. And then when the property market, when I felt it was no longer worth investing, I pulled my money out and went back into equities. And so I would just play with the different instruments to put my money where it makes most sense. And currently, most of my money, I put it in equities. And for the rest of my days, mainly, I just come to the office, have kopi o kosong, read news, get information, and then do what I need to do in the office for the rest of the day. And in the evening, I will go back and take actions on any opportunities I've uncovered in the days. But some days there are no opportunities, so I don't do anything. That's mostly what I'm doing nowadays.
That's good. I've always found it to be very interesting to talk about money to, business owners, investing. Not that the rest are not interesting, but then I guess you guys have more of a sense of what the values that you put on money and how you get it to, use it to the best, to the maximum return that you can get on the money that you have. So I usually start off with, apart from the introduction, I usually start off with this question: what does money mean to you?
Money is really just a vehicle to get to an outcome. And I'm very clear the outcome that I have. I guess a lot of people, well, let's not talk about other people, let's talk about myself.
Yes.
I'm very clear. Since young, I knew what I want in life is to have a car and drive around the world. Just as simple as that. I just want to be free and to see the world. And the reason of having a car drive around the world is so that I'm not limited by any other else. I'm in control of where I want to go. And that's what I wanted. But as I grew up, I realized that even if I do that, I need to have a base. I need to have a place where I can call home to come back to. And to do that, I will need some money to buy a house. And in order to travel, I will need some money to fund that travel. I can always not have money and just travel and then just eat whatever and, based on the charity of other people. But I guess money is a form of security to make sure that I can continue funding this. So that's what money meant to me, is in a way to fund this goal that I have, to have a base I can call home, and at the same time travel whenever I want, go wherever I want.
So it's to fund your home, which you call a base, and to travel to
Yeah.
wherever you want. That
Yeah.
is what money means to you. So
Yeah.
with that,
In a way, this is like freedom.
to you that is freedom.
Yeah.
So with that, how do you utilize money? I mean, of course, you mentioned earlier that you were an employee once, and in the course of your journey, you obviously as an employee you get paid and stuff like that. So how do you utilize money to fuel your passion or whatever that you want to do?
Well, um, like when I started off as an employee, salary is a steady income.
Mm.
So whatever money I have, I don't spend it frivolously. I will use the money to put it somewhere that I can make more money. It's always the money, I will put it somewhere to make more money. And if I do need to expense the money somewhere, I need to buy something that has a residual value. Okay, let me explain. So I actually did no, a lot of people like to buy a car and think of a car as an asset. And to me, a car is really not an asset. It's just money down. The moment you buy a car, you keep pumping in money. The money will keep going and keep going and keep going in. And I avoided buying a car until it was so necessary that my job required it. Otherwise, I would never ever want to own a car. Because the moment money goes in, it will start depreciating. And the residual value that you get from it at the end when you sell the car is very minimal. So when I buy anything, I want to make sure that at the end of its life, when I sell it, it either retain its value or it has a value higher than when I bought it. Example, furnitures. I don't buy furnitures that at the end of it is no value. So I hunt for furnitures that has potential of retaining a value. And from my research, wooden furnitures, good solid wooden furnitures tend to have that. You actually can sell it off. If you buy solid wooden furnitures, there's a tendency it becomes most furnitures that are antiques are wooden. Of course, there are some cast iron. There are some cast iron furnitures or equipment that are now antiques, like the Singer sewing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It now has value because people use the cast iron frame in manufacture other sorts of furnitures. It's kind of a creative way of doing things, and even toys. There's different type of toys, and there are there's metal toys. Some of the old metal toys actually has value now. So some of the things that I did when I was in Clarke Quay, the things I was selling stuff in Clarke Quay during the days when I was at the flea market, I was selling Swatch watches because at the time I have only so much savings as an employee. A year in working, I only have so much. I couldn't afford to buy uh, watches that actually can hold its value. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt that some of the watches like Rolexes actually do hold its value. I can't afford to buy that. So the best I could buy was Swatch. They're cheap, but some of them actually do hold their value because of the unique design and some of them are actually designed by specific artists. Like there's one by Keith Haring. They're well sought after now. So if you manage to get your hands on some of these, it holds its value. It's like art pieces in a way. And the other things that I was selling at the Clarke Quay was action figures. Those Star Wars action figures, X-Men, Batman, Superman. I was selling that because one of my friend collects those kind of stuff. And when I was looking at it, I realized there's a whole market out there that people collect action figures, and some of the older action figures holds a lot of value, especially if they're mint in condition, still in the packaging. So we were selling that. And we were getting a premium of 50 to 100%
Wow.
on each of them.
So
And
so I
yeah,
noticed
yeah,
that you're very, very deliberate in where you spend your money. like you mentioned earlier, that when you spend your money, you are looking for residual returns after that, right? So how do you, I wouldn't call it a prediction lah, but it seems that how do you determine whether the things that you have bought are worth buying?
Um, it needs a lot of understanding the market. So since young, I've been very nosy about the market. So I kind of, when I'm young, I'm one of those kids. Okay, if you think back in the 80s, I'm one of those kids that's called a Centerpoint kid. I go down to Orchard Road all the time to window shop. To window shop just to see what is out there in the market. What are the things that people are interested in? And I read news and look at not just what is happening in the world, but what are things that interest people, what people value in the world. And those give me ideas and of things that people will like and people will hold on to. And it's from there, it's the experiences that I have interacting with the world. So antiques is one of them that I've been looking and I realize most of the antique comes in a certain form. You don't have a plastic, very rare, you have a plastic chair that becomes an antique. Very
Okay.
rare. Okay, unless it's designed by a certain a well-known designer and then it kind of hold its shape and hold its form. But if you buy any mass-produced uh, plastic chairs, it's not going to last. And
Yeah.
then the value is just, I mean, the money you spend in this is just gone. So I won't buy that. Most of the time, I will look for something that likely will hold its value in a certain form.
Wow, that's interesting. So apart from that, an analytical side of you, where you put into place whenever you purchase something. When it comes to money habits, are there any other money habits that you have put into place in your life to get you to where you are now?
Oh, other than being conscious, being very conscious about how I spend my money, whatever money I don't spend, I will put it in somewhere. I will find ways to make those money make more money. Um,
Okay.
because I will avoid putting it in the bank. Because the bank interest is too low. I remember there was once when I was a teenager, I told my mom, where do you put our savings? And she told me she puts it in the bank. And now I look at her, why are you putting the money in jail? And then she looked at me, she started laughing and she thought I'm such a spendthrift, I don't want to take the money out and spend. But from me, it's like money in the bank doesn't give you a lot of returns. It's safe, but the returns is not as high because there are ways to make the money grow. Putting it in some form of investment instrument can make it grow. How did I know that when I was a teenager? Well, my parents actually bought us, my brothers, I've got two other brothers, a set of encyclopedia when we were young. I don't think people have encyclopedia nowadays, but
They have
I still,
Google nowadays.
yeah, I still have that at home. And every time I come back from school, finish my homework, I'll flip through the encyclopedia. So that's part of my window shopping, or finding out what's
Oh,
going on in the world. I flip through the encyclopedia. I don't read everything, but I look at a lot of the pictures. So I saw a lot of paintings that was all over the world, all over the different museums in the world. Saw all the other architectures, all the seven wonders of the world. And as you read and read, there are certain part of the encyclopedia that talk about money and investment and all those stuff. So they do talk about how to make money grow other than just putting in the bank. So that was the first time I got knowledge from it. And I know that money itself can be used to grow itself. So that was my thought when I talked to my mom, but she actually obviously have a different understanding from what my intention was. But that's it. So I actually don't have a lot of money in the bank. Most of my money is put somewhere else.
but that's very interesting. And you actually sort of already answered the question that I wanted to ask. I say how it did it all started, which is
Uh,
with the encyclopedia stuff. So
Yeah.
a note to all the parents out there who may be watching this, you know, buy an encyclopedia with the investing portion. Actually, I remembered I also have a set of encyclopedia when I was young, but I don't remember the investing portion.
Oh,
Strangely, so
you got to flip. Well, things will catch you,
yeah,
whatever that's interesting to you. So
yeah.
I was just reading stuff all over. But nowadays, who buys encyclopedia nowadays? This information is all over the internet.
But there are still people who don't allow, or rather, you know,
Oh,
restrict
I see.
the kids from, you know, going to any website that they want to or go online. So,
Okay.
well, you know, people may still like to buy encyclopedias,
Yeah.
you know, touch and feel and
Well, that's provided the kids are willing to just browse
yeah,
through the encyclopedia and look
correct.
through it. If they're
That's
not
true.
interested, is also pointless.
That's true.
Plus, encyclopedia has a lot of information and they need a lot of guidance from the parents because there's a lot of I found a lot of sexual educational stuff in the encyclopedia as well. I mean, they're all in there, so parents will have to guide the kids.
Okay, interesting. Any other money habits that you want to share with us
Um,
that is working for you?
I guess not. I think the key thing is that be very clear on what you spent on and
Mm.
always invest or spend money because put your money where you believe it will grow the most.
Okay.
Because money sitting around does nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Money sitting in the bank does nothing because the bank interest rates are so low.
Yeah.
So those are the money habits. So I want to ask another question with regards to, because in your growing up years, you mentioned that you started investing, you know, you did your own business in the flea market and stuff like that. So are there any money lessons that you have experienced and you feel that it's worth, you know, sharing with us?
Money lessons.
Yeah.
Let me. Wow, money lessons that I experienced. Wow.
Any painful ones that you can share so that, you know, we can learn, it's all about learning experiences. Learning.
Okay. If you want to some of the painful ones will be this. While investing in money, putting your money in some instruments to invest, is a way to grow the money. But not all investment instruments actually will turn out
Mm,
in the direction that
yeah,
I wanted it to be.
yeah.
So there will be ups and downs. In my journey of investing, I went through lots of up and down. I lost money. I had to say I lost a lot of money when I first. I wouldn't say when I first invested. When I first invested, I made a lot of money. Okay, I made a lot of money during the Asian financial crisis because it was kind of like a no-brainer at the time when you go in, things can only go up.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, I got a kind of like complacent, and I thought I knew what stock investing is all about, and then I put money into the dot-com during the dot-com boom. And then when the dot-com bubble burst, I lost all the money I've made and lost half of the capital that I put in, all the
Wow, that's a
accumulated capital.
lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Okay, and that period was very bad, and it's very depressing, and it can actually stop most people from investing, including me. I almost stopped investing
Mm,
uh, until fortunately I have friends. I have a friend who invest, which I share ideas and we talk about investment together, and he shook me up. He also lost a lot of money, but he kind of shook me up and highlighted to me that, well, money is not everything in the world. Um, as long as we're still alive, we still have arms and legs, and we're still healthy and active, we still can work, money lost can be made back. Okay. But the key thing is we need to be healthy and still be alive. So in a way, health is still very important, and to make sure that you can continue to fund uh, the goal or the vision or the dream that I wanted,
mm,
uh, to get those, to build whatever I wanted to do, um, just needs to be healthy, and then you can go after the money.
mm.
But that wasn't the only one. there was another time during the China listing of shares in Singapore. I lost some money. I lost quite a bit of money in there because some of those Chinese company were shell company. They don't really produce products or services. It's just shell company. So I lost quite a bit of money. So I went through two down period in my whole investing journey. But I learned lessons from them on what I ought to do and what I need to be mindful of. So there are lessons, and in any journey there will be ups and downs, and there will be lessons. It is to be able to distill those lessons and make sure I don't make them again. I don't do the same lessons. I don't make the same mistakes again, and then move on and make corrections and move on. If I've just lost money and stopped, I wouldn't have been able to get to the point that I am at this moment.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm curious about as well. You know, a lot of people when they get burned, maybe by stock market or for any other, you know, financial instruments. For yourself, it's actually stock market. When some people get burned and then they tell themselves, okay, I'm never going back into it again. But for you, you mentioned that you actually experienced it twice, and yet I know that you're still trading now, still investing. So sorry, not trading, investing. So
Yes.
what is it that you know, I wouldn't say cause you to believe, but what is it that, you know, you go back to after getting burned, you actually go back to investing? Investing.
Yeah, the key thing to me, it is the end goal. What it is that you want out of investing, and to me is very clear. When I went into the whole investing thing, or even when I went into started selling stuff at Clark Key, I was very clear. I needed another source of income to retire early, because employment income is not going to cut it. If I want to retire at 40, there's no way I'm going to get there with employment income. Another alternate source of income needs to be there. And there's only so few instruments, not so few, there's quite a number of instruments out there. And which one I'm willing to take. I can always do trading, but trading is almost like a full-time job. Trading needs to be actively involved. Investing can be a long-term thing, so you don't really need to be doing it day in, day out. And then, of course, you can do other stuff, forex, invest in gold, invest in precious metal and other stuff. But I kind of can't bring myself to do forex trading because it's still trading, or commodity trading is still trading. Investing in precious metal, to me, I don't see an intrinsic value in some of that, so I can't bring myself to do it. So I don't. So whatever I do, I need to understand and believe in it. And because my goal is to get there, I will look for opportunities that can get me there. Now, I've lost money, but no matter how I look, if I depend on my employment income, I know that there's still no way. And I still need to get back to some form of alternate source of income to get there. I can always get a property, rent out rent out the property, collect rental, and get there. That's one way. But at a time when I was like in my like 5 years after working, I don't have enough capital to buy enough properties. So that was the part where I didn't go in. That's why I went back into equities. Eventually, I did go into properties when I have sufficient capital, and when the market was soft, I went in, made money out of it. But then with some of the cooling measures, I decided that it's no longer a game I can play anymore. So I went back to equities, because in a way, I with the lessons I've learned, I still felt that the equity markets has room to grow depending on what kind of stocks we're looking at. And the stocks I look at is always stocks that create value that the market wants. Not about whether it is undervalued or it has a certain price, whether the price will go any higher or whatever, but whether the stock is creating value that the market wants.
Okay. So we're going to move on to talk about retirement. You know, retirement is often linked with money, and you have mentioned that at the beginning, at the beginning of our conversation, that, you know, you are actually semi-retired. So,
Yes.
so tell us, what is semi-retirement like for you, and how is it? How is it? What is it to you? How do you use
Okay.
money when you're semi-retired too? Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, my idea of retirement when I was planning to retire at 40, I eventually didn't retire at 40, I retired at 45 because the Asian financial crisis actually was a setback and for me, and I knew that I could, because I lost a lot of money during the, sorry, not the Asian financial, the dot-com bubble when it burst
Yeah.
was a setback for me. And at the time I knew I couldn't make it. So I actually extended by 5 years. And eventually I did retire at 45. And every time I at a time when I was thinking what I would do when I retire was I want to wake up, have breakfast, drink coffee, then read the news, read as much as I can, then go to the gym, and then after that, meet up with friends for lunch if they are available, and then read, um, and then look at what are the opportunities in the market, and then make my adjustments, and then later in the evening meet up with friends for dinner, and that's it. So it's just a whole my daily routine will look like
Wow.
go to the gym and reading news and read other novels or fictional materials. So that was, and then travel, of course, of course. So that was my idea of what retirement is. And when I actually left my employment in on the age of 45, I actually joined a friend in a business venture. So I'm a business owner now.
Mm-hmm.
And most days I basically come to the office in the morning, drink my coffee, read news. Either I go to the gym before I come to the office, or I sometimes in the afternoon I go to the gym, and then I do whatever is necessary for the office. And then if, in the evening I meet up with friends for dinner and or take actions on the opportunities. So
Wow.
that's kind of like met my idea of retirement. And what do I do with my money?
Yes. Where does money come into the picture in all this? Are you relying
Oh,
on your?
I'm relying on my investments mostly. So my investment portfolio, I will just have it, and whenever I need money, I just draw some out of it, and then I will adjust the portfolio, or even sometimes let it be as it is, and over a period of time, you will grow back, or even grow more than what I've taken out. And so I keep growing my money in that way, so that every time I take out, I don't deplete it. It's actually a growing pot for me.
Wow. And that would continue definitely, right? As you
Yes,
continue
that
your
will continue.
lifestyle. Yeah, that
Yes,
pot of base that you have will continue to feed you.
yes, it will continue to feed me. Of course, I don't spend my money excessively. Uh, I actually do look at my expense and I control them a lot. And my utility bills and my all other bills is actually cut to the bare minimum. Uh,
Mm.
I will whatever is expense, I will make sure expense are at the minimum to sustain my my lifestyle. I don't have money and just spend money, because to me money is a vehicle to get to a goal, and spending the money excessively doesn't help me get to the goal, so I won't spend it that way.
Yeah, but with that, I know that you are still living the lifestyle that you want, like what you described earlier, right? Your
Yeah.
semi-retirement lifestyle. Yeah. So it's a matter of managing the expenses such that it suits your lifestyle as well.
Yes.
Wow, that's very amazing.
Mm.
So, would you like to share with us throughout your journey what is the best? Well, I usually end with this question. What is the best money advice that you have received, or you have perhaps um, received or experienced for yourself? What is the one that works best for you?
Oh, actually, nobody has given me a money advice before, but I will actually say this particular advice that I actually keep hearing all the time when I was growing up, and even when I started working, was don't work hard, work smart. So there's a lot of interpretation about that. But when I heard that, and because of the goal that I wanted to get to, um, I realized that the best way to get to my goal, instead of just working hard to make money to get there, I need to work smarter. And there, of course, some people think work smarter is to network and play politics in the office and brown nose bosses, you get where you want. Yeah, that's one way, but there's still a lot of work in there. You got to
Yeah.
brown nose your boss, you got to network. Still a lot of work. To me, it's not really working smart. I thought the ultimate working smart is to let the money work, do the working instead of you work. So I thought in a way that advice, when I heard it, is like, wow, it's kind of a great advice on how to handle money. Because if the money can work itself to grow instead of me working to grow the money, that is the smartest thing I can do. So I thought that was the best advice I have in terms of money management.
Wow. So it's about making money work smart by
Well,
itself.
yes, finding a way to make money grow itself instead of having myself work hard to grow the money.
Wow, that's amazing. And even throughout this conversation, right, I know we talk a lot about money, but I noticed together with money, you also have a very, very clear focus on your goal and the things that you want to achieve. And that sort of, I noticed that is sort of the driving force behind how you spend or plan for your money. And your focus is really, really very clear, the goals that you have. Yeah.
Yes. And I think having a clear goal is the key to, well, I wouldn't say life. It is a very key thing in life. And as a result, having that clear goal, then you will have a clear idea of how you're going to manage your resources. If the goal is not clear, resource management will be badly handled. And when I said resource management, it is not necessarily money, because it can be a lot of things in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And okay, I know just now I said that was the last question, but I have one more question for you. This is one bad habit of mine. I always say this.
Okay.
But so having that, okay, so how do you know that goal is what you wanted? How can you be so clear about that end goal that you have?
How can I? Wow, I kind of knew that when I was young.
When you was young some more, so
How young is it? I will tell you how.
how young and how do you get to that definitive state where I'm very sure that's the one I'm going for, I'm not wrong, I will go for it,
when I
that
was
state.
when I was 4 or 5, I kind of knew that that's
Oh my
what I wanted.
goodness.
Yeah, I actually thought to myself, no, if I if there's a job called a vagabond, I'll be a vagabond. Okay, I just want to roam around the world, do nothing much, relax, and see the world and experience the world and watch the world go by. And that's what I wanted to do. Not and I have to say, most of us when we're young, we have an idea of what we want to get out of life. I guess most of us lost that along the way as we are growing up, or we went through the whole societal system of how
Uh-huh.
things ought to be. But I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe most of us, when we're kids, we know there is something. Even if you want to be an astronaut, even if somebody wants to be a teacher, somebody wants to be a lawyer, usually it comes with, at the age of 4 or 5, when kids are still innocent, it comes with um, there's something about that particular profession that they really like, and it's not about money. Of course, when they get into teenagers, then money conversation will start coming in. But when they're really, really young and innocent, kids really, really know where they want to go.
Yeah, and I want to laugh because you said profession. Then I was like, is vagabond a profession? But do you? It's your goal. It's your goal, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that's how it is for your journey, right? So at age 4, you already know that's what you want to do. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then there's actually a joke about that because I remember when I was in school, uh, when the teachers asked me, what do you want to grow up to be? Um, and I wanted to write a vagabond, but I knew that I couldn't write that because how can you tell? In teachers in the 70s, late 70s at the time, you write that you're going to be some bum or useless person to the society. I think they're going to call the principal, get me to the principal office, and then I'm going to call my parents and then have a good counseling for me. So instead, I have to say I'm going to be something else. So I wrote I'm going to be a
Ah,
vet.
going to be a what?
A vet.
Oh, a vet. Okay.
Yeah. Just cook up a story. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And wow. Okay, so okay, I sort of see the level of maturity even when you were very young. Because at the age, most kids would have just, write whatever they think. But you actually thought a level beyond and know that you cannot write vagabond, you instead write something else. Yeah. So yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. That's very interesting. Okay, so thank you for sharing your insights about money in your life with us. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we end off?
Yeah, the key message is be clear on what you want to get out of life because that is the part that is going to be the one spearheading um, you into managing your resources in the most meaningful way. Yeah, I don't like to give advice, but yeah, I'll just say this to the listeners.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will. Thank you so much for joining us. I will let you know when this is being broadcasted.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you.